I've been monitoring markets since about 2014, 2015. And I have never seen the precious metals move like this. I mean, they're moving like how crypto moves. Crypto moves like 10 and 20% in a day. And we're seeing $33, 23%, 15% swings in a day. Sometimes you will see 15% up, 15% down. That's 30%, you know what I mean, in a day. That's insane. Donald Trump is just an actor. He's just, if you go and look him up on IMDb, you can see he's an actor, right? So he's just playing a part because the whole world's a stage and men and women are mere players, right? And I think that people that are looking to improve themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually are the people that will come through. And I think that AI will be a very big part of our future, and the people that are studying and AI, learning how to use it, implementing it in their businesses. A person from China can have sex with a person from Africa and get a child, right? It means that we're the same human race. And until we look past those small superficial differences, it means that we will remain in the same state of fear. We will continue to be controlled. We will continue to have no freedom, mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Hey Conscious Man 7 family, quick question before we start. Do you love the depth of these conversations but hate when ads break the flow? I get it. Ads can feel like speed bumps on a highway, pulling you out of that deep zone. That's why we created a way for you to enjoy every episode completely ad-free while supporting the show at the same time. For just a few bucks a month on Patreon or Locals, you'll get full access to uninterrupted episodes. You'll get direct access to me so you can ask me any questions that you have, some cool other perks like early releases, and you'll also help us keep bringing you the powerful conversations that mainstream platforms won't touch. The link is in the show notes. Join us there and be part of this movement. Ever look up and see those dull, grey skies streaked with chemtrails, and you feel your energy sink? You're not imagining it. Something in you knows the sky isn't supposed to look that way. But what if you could bring back the blue? What if there was a way to clear the air, inside you and above you? That's where the Chembo comes in. They create powerful orgonite, tools that generate orgone energy, the life force that helps neutralize EMFs from your mobile phone, your Wi-Fi, and even 5G. It's nature's way of restoring balance, bringing cleaner air, calmer energy, and deeper sleep. Every piece from the Chembo is handmade, from tactical tower busters to beautiful pyramids and jewelry, crafted with the precise ingredients to generate real orgone energy. And here's the best part. They've proven it. For over 10 years, they've cleared thousands of miles of chemtrails, bringing the blue back to the skies around the world. So if you're ready to take back your weather and your well-being, go to thechembo.com. Use coupon code CM7 for 10% off and experience the shift for yourself. Don't fear the chemtrails or the EMF. Be empowered with the Chembo and never feel helpless again. If you are new to this podcast, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and to share, because that helps us to be recommended in the algorithms. If you would like to support this podcast, please check out our merch store on Amazon with the brand Todd and Me. We've got some cool t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, and sweaters. Link will be in the description of this podcast. And if you're now starting a spiritual journey, you would like to start a spiritual journey, or you're currently on a spiritual journey and you would like some help removing some fears and traumas, please hit me up on my Instagram at Adriano_246 and I will help you to get some magic mushrooms. Enjoy the show and stay tuned because we have some more great content coming soon. The silver market just showed signs of breaking. Crypto is swinging violently. The Epstein documents are released, but the powerful names are redacted. Food prices are rising, fuel prices are rising, and trust in governments is collapsing. Coincidence? Or are we watching the early signs of something much bigger? Hello, beautiful and amazing people. Welcome to the Conscious Man 7 podcast. I am your host, Todd Cave, and in this Walk and Talk episode, we're asking some hard questions. What really happened around the Trump-Maduro saga? Why were massive amounts of silver moved just before Maduro was taken out? Is the global financial system fracturing or being restructured? But here is the deeper layer. If the system is shaking, what does that require from you? Because collapse doesn't just expose corruption, it exposes character. And if we're entering a period of civilizational transition, mindset, physical strength, self-sufficiency, and spiritual alignment won't be optional. They will be mandatory for survival and making it to the end. The real revolution begins with you and within you.
When truth is blurred by lies and misinformation, perception becomes reality. What will you perceive your reality to be?
Liberate your fears and walk with me.
Sit down and meditate. Connect with your soul.
Be a monster and then learn how to control it.
You gotta be willing to do the work.
So it really goes really deep in terms of words and etymology and what they mean. So this is why like it is really hard to really crack the matrix, because there's so many levels and layers to it, you know?
Hello, beautiful and amazing people. Welcome to another Walk and Talk, the first for 2026. So as you can see, I'm coming from you from another location. I am back on base, the original base in Barbados, and I came to visit my family over the Christmas, and I spent a couple of months here. So I'm actually flying back to my other base, in Mexico tomorrow. So when this video is published, I would already have been there. And yes, this is the first Walk and Talk for 2026 because I was on a slightly different routine, being that I was back with the family and, occasionally had to help out on the farm, because we are farmers and we grow chickens on contract. So I had to help with that sometimes, and I also was doing some of the preparation work for this impending apocalypse, revealing of the veil, lifting of the veil, and revealing of all truth. And I planted 25 coconut trees for the family because we have one coconut tree, and I planted 25 in preparation for if things go peak town, we would be able to have coconuts, coconut water, and jelly to live off if things get that bad, because they will. We're going to get into a lot of stuff today, and I'm flying in a few hours, so I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible, but also get into all the stuff that I want to get into, because wow, what a year has been so far. So the year started off with President Trump invading Venezuela and taking out Maduro. And whether you like Maduro, you hate him or not, what we can say is that there's always rules for thee and rules for me. This is what it looks like to me. And if any other country had gone into another country like that, the United States would have been saying, oh, it is war crimes, it is a violation of international rules and sovereignty and XYZ. But they are the police of the world, and they can do what they feel like, and there's not another superpower that can, at the moment, go against them to push back on them. But there's a lot of hidden stories that are really related to the whole reason why he was taken out or captured, because there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes that are a little bit circumstantial, but I will tell you what I have found, and you can go and verify for yourself, because I try my best now not to go super deep into the conspiracies, although that's where it started. But I find that everything leads back to spirituality, and I try to focus on the spiritual aspect of this entire thing that we're going through, the ascension process, because at the end of the day, these people, these entities, these beings that rule the planet worship or venerate a higher power, which is of a negative energy. And this is why it all leads back to spirituality. So people may say, well, you know, I don't believe in religion. And that's true. That's like me. But you have to study the religion of the people that control this world to understand the end game and what they're trying to do. So apparently in December, which is just like a week or a few days before Trump invaded Venezuela and took out Maduro, there was a movement. Well, there were a couple of things. There was a sort of like some sort of emergency in the silver mines in Venezuela, and they had halted mining. I think from memory it was like the 21st of December or something like that. But I could be a little bit wrong because, like I said, I don't go super deep in these things anymore. But there was a stop of the mining in December. And then just before he was invaded, I think from memory there were like 13 planes, 13, that moved cargo from Venezuela, and some went to America, and the vast majority went to China and Russia. Now, when you look at the tea leaves and stuff, it seems like 847 tons of silver was moved from the Venezuelan central bank. Now, they did a similar thing like this with gold and Libya and Gaddafi. So there seems to be a lot more deeper things at play that people really realize. And apparently, the 10 of those planes were divided up between Russia and China. And basically, I would ascertain from looking at the tea leaves that there may have been some sort of a deal that was done between these three countries where the United States said, look, we're going to go in and take out this guy. He is your mate, but we're going to pay you off for you to let him go to us. So we're going to let you get all the silver, and we will just take the oil, because basically, if we're intellectually honest here, that's basically what happened. It was a grab for the oil, right? So this is what it looks like to me. And then shortly what happened after the new year, we had a massive spike in the silver price. And it was only like $121 about maybe around the middle of, from the middle to the end of January. I think they smashed it on like the 29th or something like that. And it dropped like $33 or something like that. Again, 33, right? These people love these numbers of 13 and 33. It's not that these numbers are bad numbers inherently, but what they do is that they know that there's manifestation powers between these numbers. So they do things on these numbers to channel the power, because energy is just energy. You can align it wherever you want, whether to a positive place or a negative place. So this is what it seems like to me, that there was this gentleman's agreement, or wink, 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 nod, nod agreement, where they look, we can go in Venezuela, we can take out all the oil, because at the end of the day, there's another reason for that. Now, a lot of things behind the scenes that people don't really realize. Saudi Arabia, which owns the company Aramco, they are the biggest producers of oil on the planet. And they have not renewed the petrodollar agreement, which means that they will only price all of their oil in dollars. Now, they're accepting other currencies as remuneration for the oil, which means that it puts pressure on the petrodollar. Now, why is that important? Now, it's very important because the United States dollar is the reserve currency. And when the United States dollar loses reserve currency status, it means that all those dollars will be coming home, because there'll be no need for countries to be holding dollars anymore, simply because they can pay in their local currency, or maybe crypto, or maybe gold or silver, right? And yeah, so that happened, and that is one of the reasons for they're going for the oil, because the United States has a lot of oil too, but if they can control the vast majority and they can export it and stuff, refine it, it means then that you would have to buy the oil from them in dollars. So it makes sense to keep the petrodollar alive, because the world has been propped up on this fiat currency system since 1971. And when Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. So basically, and silver was always a money, because there were two reasons really why they assassinated JFK. One is that he issued something called the greenback, right? I can't remember the executive number. And two, he wanted to split the CIA into 1,000 pieces, right? And those two things are what I truly believe are what got him killed, because it means that the Federal Reserve would have no more power in issuing the currency, and they are a global international criminal cartel syndicate and just dressing up in suits. This is why we call them banksters. And they're most likely very heavily involved in the murder of JF Kennedy. So this is why silver is a big thing, because it would put real money back in the system, and you can't have fake money, a fake currency, a fake society, and fake truth if you have real money. Because what will happen is that people that are doing real things will get the real currency, and it means that the people that are doing the fake things will have no value, because no one would then listen to, because money is really a consciousness too, you know, it's an energy. So basically, this is why the more you give, the more you receive in terms of money. The more you help people, the more you receive. So it's all these things that are really connected, right? So this is what it seems like to me, is the story behind the story of actually taking up Maduro. One, it was to protect the petrodollar, because if people need to understand that the first thing they're really going to do to us is they're really going to hit the money. They're going to hit the economy. And by doing that, it means then that's going to put us in a very low state of frequency, and we'll be easily controlled simply because money is the thing that rules the world. So if money is the thing that rules the world and they crash the economy, it means then that money will have no value. They would put us in a state of panic, and then they would be able to bring in the system that they want. The next thing now is that with silver, the United States does know that silver is a very important metal, and they are going to try to counter the East in physical assets with trying to bring out like technology and digital currencies and stuff. Because I saw a very interesting article recently where it was saying that the United States might try to use these staple coins in, you know, cryptocurrency to try to like reset their debt, right? So there are a lot of reasons to why all these things are going on in the world, because, you know, if they can continue to control the oil and get oil pumped, oil sold in dollars, it means then that they will still have relevance, and they'll be able to keep borrowing money at much cheaper rate than the entire other world could, you know? So I have been really following the economic side of things. I've been following the precious metal and cryptocurrency prices, because I think this is where you start to see the issues that we have in the world, and the state of affairs is the economy. Not only the economy, but the markets. And, you know, it was something like September or something like that, we had an all-time high in Bitcoin, which went to like 122,000 or something like that, or 25, I can't remember, you know. And but we're somewhere there. And then we had gold peaking out at about, was it $5,500, silver $122. Now, what is happening is that smart money is getting their money out of US treasuries, bonds, and paper assets to get their money into real assets, precious metals, and other people are looking at cryptocurrency, which I do believe will play an important role in this entire thing, simply because if the fiat money goes to zero, we're going to need some form of payment on the internet to be able to exchange goods and services. Because if no one is using CBDCs, the smart people at least, no one is using the paper money, so that means the banks are cut out, we're going to have to use crypto, right? So I do think that it will play a huge role, but I also think that privacy coins will also play a big role. There's way Monero went up to like $600, and you know, my guys that I follow reckon that when it really takes off, we could see 1,000, because people are going to be craving privacy, because Bitcoin is a semi-anonymous blockchain, semi-anonymous, where there's not a name like Todd Cave on the internet, but if someone knows my wallet address, they can monitor all the transactions going in and out and all that kind of stuff, right? So yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, I do think that we are seeing definitely the whole entire system unravel, because the huge swings in the markets are incredible. Now I'm 44 years young. I have not even had a half century here, but I've been monitoring markets since about 2014, 2015. And I have never seen the precious metals move like this. I mean, they're moving like how crypto moves. Crypto moves like 10 and 20% in a day. And we're seeing $33, 23%, 15% swings in a day. Sometimes you will see 15% up, 15% down. That's 30%, you know what I mean, in a day. That's insane. So that's telling me that the system is breaking. And people, when this system breaks, it's going to be a massive shock for people, because people believe in the government and that, you know, someone's coming to save them. And this is why religious people and people that believe in the state and people that believe in, you know, organized religion all have the same zealous behavior, you know. So basically, one of the things now that we're going to see is, I'm calling it on my show, we are going to see an explosion in the silver market, because silver has officially broken. So what I mean by broken is that we have two systems on the planet right now. We have the COMEX, which is all futures contracts and paper. So these are promissory notes. And then you have the Shanghai Gold Exchange, which deals in all physical delivery. So you cannot be failing to deliver there, because you must have proof of gold to sell. And then obviously you would, you know, have proof of money that you can buy, right? So it's a physical market. So what was happening, right, is that when silver was like $75 and stuff, out in the East, they were paying like $150, right? Because you can't get the silver on the market, because what is going on is that the world is consuming, in general, more silver in a year than what the mines can physically produce. So it means then that the only way to get extra silver is for people to sell their silver, right? Or from like recycling and that kind of stuff, right? And what was happening is that there's something called arbitrage, where you could physically buy a contract in the East and then sell it on the West. But what it is now is that, buy a physical contract in the West and sell it on the East. But what is happening now is that you can't get delivery in the West either. So you can't even sell it on the Eastern market, because no one can deliver. So what happened is that the premiums were super high for the silver market in China, and they had to halt trading for a while because you couldn't get the actual metal. And then what happened is that they changed their rules. When they checked the last, is that they were going to copy the COMEX, which is the Western version, which is all these contracts and stuff. And now for you to get silver, I think like silver yesterday was like $80 some. You had to pay a premium of like $40 some to even get it. So this is why I said that silver has officially broken. And what this is going to mean is that for us to evolve technologically and even to continue our modern lifestyle, silver is one of the most important metals. Solar panels, mobile phones, this camera I'm using to record, everything to do with modems, computing, everything requires silver. So if you can't get any silver, it means that there are certain things that are going to be retarded in the development. Because even look at, like, you know, they want to go into this green energy thing, right? All these EVs, electric vehicles, they can't continue to produce the EVs at this rate if there's no silver, right? So this is why I am saying that the entire system is falling. Faith and trust are being lost in the money, because this way people are running towards precious metals or cryptocurrency. Faith is being lost in government, because we're seeing a lot of people now realize that the government is a fraud, because everything that President Trump said he was going to do, he's not done, right? And in fact, he's doing things that he said he would never do. So people are starting to realize that, hold on a minute, Donald Trump is just an actor. He's just, if you go and look him up on IMDb, you can see he's an actor, right? So he's just playing a part, because the whole world's a stage and men and women are mere players, right? And we're also seeing a breakdown in religion. So most of y'all that listen to my content, I would say, are probably from a Judeo-Christian background and not too many of the Islamic background. But I talk about Islam a lot because Islam is about 1/3 of the population. Well, it probably may be, if the numbers are real, that we're 8 billion, probably a little bit less than that, because they're approaching 2 billion Muslims. I think, from memory, is 1.7 high, almost 1.8 billion. So we have almost, if it's 8 billion, let's call it 2 billion. That's almost 1/4 of the population who are Islamic, right? I am seeing, and I follow this religion a lot, because I think that that is one of the big canaries in the coal mine. Reason is that this religion is a death cult. It is absolutely satanic. It is blatant that it's not from God. It is blatant that it has no historicity. Now, people like to knock Christianity, and I do as well, but there's certain things that we can't deny, which is that the Bible has a lot of historical facts, names places that archaeologists have gone and found artifacts to confirm the time periods that are being sort of quoted. So this historicity, Islam has zero historicity. When I say zero, zero. So they were doing some work on the Grand Mosque in Saudi Arabia a few years ago, and Islam says that, when Adam was kicked out of the Garden of Eden, he came to Mecca. He used to sit by the Kaaba, and how Abraham, was buried there, XYZ. So when they were doing some reconstruction on the Grand Mosque, and they were doing work, they had archaeologists on standby, and they found zero artifacts. They said that Muhammad was buried there. They found nothing. In fact, where he was supposed to be buried, they paved over. They concreted over. So it just goes to show that there's no historicity there. They're just hiding their fake history and just using all the indoctrinationary methods of keeping people in their religion, which is just repetition of lies until it becomes real. But anyway, I am seeing a lot of people apostatizing on this religion now. I mean, huge numbers, right? And it's becoming more and more visible where these Islamic religious leaders are panicking. They're panicking because, like one guy said, it will be an avalanche. And in America, I think it's like 23 or 25% of young Muslim youth are leaving the religion simply because they have access to the internet. The questions that they ask can't be answered by these religious leaders. And people now are realizing it's all BS. It's all fake, right? It's made up. Because just look at it. It just looks like, you saying a prophet's name, you have to repeat peace be upon him. Why would you need to repeat that, right? That's veneration. When you even get into the book, to the doctrine, basically Muhammad and Allah are on the same level. So basically it's almost like you're worshiping Muhammad. I won't go too far into this, but my point is that I'm seeing a lot of apostasy there. You're seeing stuff in Iran. You're seeing stuff in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, it's more hidden, but a lot of these studies like peer review and all these other anonymous, where people can give defamation anonymously, people are leaving the religion, right? And I think that's a good thing. But the thing is now is that with everyone starting this journey of self-improvement and consciousness, because consciousness just really means knowing of thyself, right? if all of us are going through these things at the same time, when things are becoming more and more difficult, it simply means that the planet is going to be a very, very dark and hard place, which is why I have this show where I try to bring on the best guests to teach, inform, and educate us on how we can escape the matrix, give us tools, give us mindset hacks, and give us a lot of tactics that we can apply in our lives and principles in order to simply, improve ourselves. So we're seeing a breakdown there in the money. So I showed you all that in the money markets, because even look at the dollar. The dollar has been really weak. Metals and crypto just fluctuating up and down like that. Then you have people seeing now that Donald Trump is just a fraud, just like Keir Starmer from England, who, if people don't know, he was the CPS, the chief public prosecutor, or CPS, well, basically the crown prosecutor in England when Jimmy Savile's case was being investigated, and he said, "There's nothing here, so just push that under the rug." And then afterwards, he became Sir Keir Starmer. So all these people are vampires and demons and are just trying to, enslave us and keep us down. And then obviously I just told you on the religious side, and also a lot of people are realizing that the form of Christianity that we have isn't really how it's supposed to be, because Yeshua never said and did the things that these supposed Christians are doing. And then Judaism is another satanic religion. I'll just call it that, because they're all satanic, really, because it all seems to be coming out of this Saturnalian bloodline elite and energy and consciousness that is just being projected here on this earth through the moon, which is a satellite. That's basically, it seems to be a transfer station. So yeah, everything is a distraction from us doing the work within, right? And this is why I have always maintained all the time that we need to work on ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually, right? And so I did say back in the a few walking talks ago that we would never get these Jeffrey Epstein files. So I was kind of half right. And we did get some the files, not all of them, because they deleted some immediately when they actually had released them. But what I did say is that we will never find out who these perpetrators are. Because imagine, they dumped the Jeffrey Epstein emails, because I've read some of them, and you've got people saying some heinous stuff, and their names are redacted. So the predators and the monsters are actually getting away scot-free because you can't see their names. But here it is, some of the victims, their names have actually been leaked. So it means then that, again, what I did say is 100% right. The system protects itself. The system doesn't try to protect you. It tries to protect its cronies so that they can continue to do their blood sacrifices and rituals, right? And yeah, I'm surprised but not surprised, because I thought I would never get anything whatsoever. But we did get something, albeit the people that names should be visible, that are not visible. So we don't know who these people are, although we can deduce some of the names. But regardless, right, the call that I am going to make, and I will stay by this, is that, and I will go 10 toes down on this one, is that there will be no prosecutions, no one will be held for it. And I think this is my personal belief, Todd's belief, that they're doing this on purpose to flex on us, to show us that they own us, they control us, and they can do whatever they want, and we, the goyim, can't do anything about it. Because think about it, right? The names, we've seen some people like old Billy Boy, try to get some medication or antibiotics because he caught an STD from shagging loads of maybe prostitutes or underage girls, who knows, right? And he was asking Epstein for some some medication so he could give to his then wife Melinda Gates without her knowledge. No, we see things like that, right? No. How is it, right, that all of these people are linked to this guy, yet still no prosecutions, no charges, no referrals, no nothing, right? Just what they're doing is they're having us, the people, wind ourselves up, have a go each other on Twitter, back and forth, defending one side or the next, and nothing is happening, right? This is why I keep telling people you don't take sides in this entire thing, because the day you take sides is the day that you lose. And these people only believe in one thing: making us slaves and making them the rulers of this planet, right? And I think that they're doing this on purpose, which is why this stage is called the apocalypse. It's the revelation. It's the lifting of the veil. And it's like the revelation of the method, problem, reaction, solution. So what they did is that they created a problem. Now they're trying to promote or induce a reaction because they want us to fight amongst each other, because what we do see is that it's not a left-right paradigm. It's a us versus them paradigm. And we are still seeing that we have to go at it pit-tongue against each other, because their plan is to get us to fight against each other so that we get tired. And then once we kill ourselves, then they'll come with the solution of this new system, which will have us into perpetual slavery, right? So it just goes to show you that the system protects itself. These people are monsters, and everything that the conspiracy theorists said is true. We conspiracy theorists are battling like maybe 1,000-0 at the moment, because, I said that Jeffrey Epstein was either the central hub or one of them, but he played a huge, huge, huge role in the involvement of this entire blackmail system, right? And they use compromise on you, because that's how you get politicians to do things that they don't want to do. And as I said, Mohammed bin Salman, he's also implicated. So yeah, I told you all that all of these people, every single person in government, in power, has fame, fortune, the billionaire class, everyone is connected to Jeffrey Epstein. Every single one of them. It's a big old club, and you ain't in it. George Carlin, So it's people need to wake up and realize that we're being played off here, And this is just ripping the veil off, because I do think that these people know what is happening, that they can't stop it, but they're just going to try to burn the entire house down so that no one can rule over the ashes, They'd rather rule over the ashes than let someone rule over the kingdom, right? Because Earth is such a beautiful place when you travel it and you actually see, like, we have so much abundance on this planet. It's just mentally we create the abundance, So this is why you see they're doing certain things like having food very, very high. So coming back to Barbados, which is my home, I love Barbados, but there's only one word I can use now to describe Barbados, and that is luxury. And it is sad because things here are just so expensive. Like, Barbados is the playground for the rich now. It is absolutely, absolutely the case. Like, I am so blown away because I lived in England for 18 years. And over there, obviously, big cosmopolitan country, London, where I lived, you could see nationalities and hear languages from all over the place. Now I'm back in Barbados now. I am shocked with the amount of foreigners and foreign languages that are being spoken and stuff like that. Because, morning, I'm just shocked at the amount of diversity here. No, I think it's good, but I'm just like, hold on a minute, like, how can normal people live? Because I remember I went in to Starbucks and to get a tea, right? And when I was walking in, to my left, I could hear Spanish, and I knew they were Colombians because I know the accent. Then, as I was sitting down drinking my tea, I was hearing Portuguese on my right, and I knew they were Brazilian, and I was like, wow. So you're trying to tell me the two languages that I speak fluently are being spoken on my left and right? And I was just blown away, because when I left Barbados in 2005, the most tourists, most foreigners we had were just North Americans, Canadians, Americans, British, and maybe you'll find one or two people from like other parts of Europe, maybe. But they obviously spoke English, right, to come here. But to be on a level, like, I was shocked. Like, I was sorry that I didn't get to talk to these lads, because I was in one of these supermarkets here, Massey, which is a big, big one. And I heard Spanish being spoken. And I knew straight away they were Mexican, because when you live in Mexico, obviously, you know the Spanish accent, right? But I was on the phone talking to one of my mates in England, so I didn't get to go and introduce myself to find out what they're doing there. But what I saw that they had on, like, work clothes, like if they're working on site. And I'm saying, my goodness. So you got Mexicans working here in Barbados, which is not even a Spanish-speaking country, and they're working in construction. Again, this is something that I would never have seen in 2005. And even when they came back year after year, the most you would see is maybe Guyanese, right? Maybe some Spain sanctions, because the Barbados dollar is very strong, because 2 Barbados dollars is one American dollar. So, you know, they used to have those type of immigration, which again, I don't have a problem with, but I was just like, wow. So what it is now is that things here are super expensive. Like, to give context, right? Most things are 50% more expensive here than Mexico. And some things are like 5 times the amount. So like, I like Greek yogurt, and what I pay for a 750 milliliter in Mexico, I am paying for a 150 ml here. 5 times more expensive. So you want like fruits like strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, you're paying double the price. Well, 50 to 60% the price, sorry. You know, so it's insane. But this is all being done deliberately, simply because if you can make things so difficult for food, it means then that when they crash the system, they can come and say, hey Todd, you want to eat something? Come over here, take your jabs and take this chip in your brain. We'll take care of you. We'll give you all the food that you want. And also you're going to have to eat your bugs and all that kind of stuff, because Barbados has a very strange phenomenon where it is super expensive to import stuff in. Then the taxes and duties are like insane. The retailers are super, super greedy, so they charge 3 to 4 to 5 times more for the price. Then secondly, we have a culture here where a lot of people don't even want to grow food, because our youth have been indoctrinated by social media to, I don't know, believe everything on the TV is real. And some people don't even know how to do any sort of simple farming. We came from farmers, right? So, and everyone believes now that they have to get an education. No, this is the thing. It's not that education is bad, right? But what we have is a situation where we're producing so many people that are educated, and we simply don't have the jobs because we're a small island, right? And so what I am seeing is a massive use of people that are not doing jobs that are their purpose. They're not happy. They're searching for meaning, X, Y, Z, right? And yeah, and another phenomenon is that it's just wages here are expensive. They're high. So you can't even grow food easily because it costs so much money, right? So we have so many things, right? And this is the same thing for pretty much almost all of the Caribbean islands. And y'all in the developed Western countries, right? Y'all have the same issues. Well, not the exact same, but very similar. So this is why a lot of Western countries import stuff, import food. Now, if all you're doing is importing everything and you're not growing anything, then those imports stop because we have a breakdown in the system with money or faith in the currency and the government, the system. How are people in Barbados and stuff going to live? How are people in all the other countries going to live? Which is why, remember I spoke about planting those trees earlier in the walk and talk. And this is me forward thinking. We actually have quite a few fruit trees planted on our land as well. And we're trying to make ourselves self-sufficient. My sister is into like planting herbs and vegetables as well. One of my mates just gave us another fruit tree, which is good. So yeah, we trying to just make ourselves self-sufficient. We grow chickens on contract, and we have like a couple of layers, and I think we have one duck, or we have a few rabbits there. So if we have to like, fend for ourselves, we should be able to do it, right? But most people don't have that ability to do, right? So this is why I brought on my father last in 2024, episode 54 and episode 61. So go and listen to those episodes, download them, share them far and wide. If you want to cut them up, do whatever you want, because that information is solid information on how to grow food, episode 54, and how to do animal rearing, episode 61. Because knowledge like that will be lost, because the average farmer now is like in their 60s. Not many people are doing farming in all countries in the world. And I think the country with the highest number of farmers is China, right? So a lot of things are coming to head, right? And this is why, one, we are so out of shape because we're not eating proper quality food. Two, we're importing all our food, so we are basically spending all our money when we could be growing it ourselves, some of it, And then three, we've been heavily propagandized that to believe that, everything we see on the TV is real. So it's a very, very interesting paradigm that we're living in. And I do believe that this is a time that we need to really develop our skills, hone them in. And I think that people that are looking to improve themselves mentally, physically, and spiritually are the people that will come through. And I think that AI will be a very big part of our future, and the people that are studying and AI, learning how to use it, implementing it in their businesses, because I use AI a little bit in my business, and I'm actually going to, when I get back to Mexico, spend a lot more time in seeing how much more I can bring into the business, because what I'm realizing is that now for scalability and everything like that, it's going to be a tool, because you can actually produce AI videos. So I'm actually going to do a little testing to see how we can get it done. Some of my videos on Instagram, I'll test to see, like when I do like short walk and talks and stuff, I would test it and see how it can work, because honestly, I think that is a great tool, but we just have to be responsible with it. So all of those conscious programmers out there, we need you to, start working on yourself so that you can help program some ethics into this machine that's being built, And yeah, so learning things like languages, cooking, growing food, rearing animals, seeing how you can learn to do other things, whether it could be, I don't know, accounting, cutting hair, whatever, right? You will need to learn new skills in order to adapt, because this world is a completely different world now, and it's not going to go back to how it was before, right? So, this is why I tell people, look, if you are really struggling with finding, where to go, what to do, how to start, and you would like to level up all areas of your life, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriana_246 or my name Todd Cave, because I help spiritually inclined people burn fat and build muscle, and it will help point you in the right direction. And all the things that you learn with exercise and nutrition will help improve your mindset, which will point you in the right direction in order to level up other areas of your life. And then also the mindset shift that you will get with working with me, you'll be able to apply when all of these things start falling apart, because you do go through a metamorphosis, right? A metamorphosis is painful, but what happens is that the caterpillar becomes the butterfly. And what I'm imploring you to do is to be brave and go from being a caterpillar and be a butterfly. So if you would like to work with me, you would like to get in the best shape of your life, you would like to grow mentally, physically, and spiritually, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriana_246 or my name Todd Cave on Facebook. Send me a message, let's have a chat, and let's see if you're a good fit for the Compound Body Training Army. And if you like our show and you like to support us, you can also visit our sponsor, The Kembo, at thekembo.com. They have some cool organite pyramids, jewelry. You see I have on my organite pendant today. And you can get some earrings, and that will protect you from the nasty EMFs in your home, reduce the chemtrails and all that kind of stuff. Go over there, thekembo.com, use coupon code CM7 and get 10% off your order. And if you also would like to support our podcast, you can visit our merch store. You see I have on the Todd and Me shirt today. We have some cool tank tops, hoodies, shirts, and sweats. Link for that Amazon store will be in the description of this podcast. And lastly, if you would like to, support us in any other way, I have a Patreon or Locals channel, and you can hit me up there if you just don't like ads on this platform, because the podcast channels give a lot of ads. And for a few bucks a month, you become a member of our Locals or Patreon, and you can get early releases of all the podcasts. So if you're watching this on the Patreon, it means that you got this first, and then all the other people, you would get it later, and you get direct access to me. And I used to reply to those messages, ask me questions and everything like that. And if you're on a spiritual journey, or you would like to start a spiritual journey and you like some help removing some fears and traumas, I can help you to get some magic mushrooms. So hit me up on my Instagram at Adriana_246 or my name Todd Cave on Facebook, and send me a message, and let's help you on your spiritual journey. So back to the collapse that we're witnessing. And you know what, right? I use social media. I go on Instagram a lot, but the amount of debauchery that is on there is insane. And I'm not interested, but I just keep getting more. So my mate says that is because you let a few seconds play. But the thing is, right, is you're just in shock, I guess. I don't know, man. I think the algorithms are just rigged, and even if it plays for 1 or 2 seconds, you press, you're not interested, it still comes back, because I keep seeing the same thing. But this is how you know that you're coming to the end of a civilization. It is insane the amount of debauchery that I'm seeing, and we just have no morals, no values anymore. I mean, I love to see girls looking sexy and stuff, but it's becoming to a point where there's nothing being hidden anymore. Everything is being revealed. And it's I don't know why young girls will think, and not even just young girls, they got some older girls doing it too. They think that if they put their entire body on social media, that they wouldn't make themselves a sexual object, right? They're sexually objectifying themselves. And then when men who are thirsty, and to be honest, we just visual, we would hit them up, and then they would get all this attention, and then they would say, oh, there are no real good guys out there, because all the guys that hit them up are simps. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of these things that I find very, very confusing. This is why I say to people, look, we just focus on working on ourselves. We just stay on our mission and on our purpose, because you can't change the world, but you can change yourself. And by you changing yourself, it means then that you will be able to change the world around you, you know? I predict that we are going to eventually see hardcore pornography on Instagram or Facebook, because these guys actually allow child trafficking and stuff like that, you know. Like, you've heard many, many instances where people have said that they found that kind of material on these platforms. So I am certain that in the future we're going to see some of that type of content there as well, you know. And, you know, I had a conversation with a friend of mine, right, recently. And this was a very interesting conversation because she is a big government person. She believes in politics and politicians and stuff. Well, clearly from the conversation. So I wanted to share this with you because this is the mindset that people, that the zealots have, whether they're into religion, money, or government. So she was saying to me, oh, Todd, so, you know, after you fly, after you fly, they have elections here in Barbados. I said, really? I didn't even know that, because I don't pay attention to anything, right? She says, yeah. I said, well, and I made a blanket statement. This is not about any particular party. I said, but government means mind control, because govern comes from governe, Latin part, which is to control, to steer, to steer or to control, you know. And ment comes from mens, which Latin is mind. So I said it's mind control. And I said to her that nothing changes with government. And then she started telling me, oh, but the BRP do enough for the people. I said, okay, now I don't live here anymore. So I said, okay, tell me what good have they done? She says, well, they just do enough good for the people. Now, this is the thing. The government here may have done some good for the people. I don't know. It was just a simple question, right? Because if I'm a fair person, if a government does something good or a person does something good, I would say, yep, that's a good thing. And I've said that, like here, talking about Trump, I've said, look, Trump has done X, which is good. He's done Y, which is bad. I don't believe in that. I think that's all bad. So anyway, she got freaking vexed. And she started telling me that XYZ. I said, but hold on a minute. I only asked you a question, right? And you could have just have given me an answer. I said, but you know that this is something that a lot of this is the same kind of mindset that a lot of Christians and religious people have, right? Like when you ask them questions, they can't really give you anything. She says, well, you bring out the Bible. I said, but I didn't bring the Bible. I just made another blanket statement, but this is the way that people think, because when you ask questions, they get upset. And she says, oh, you know everything. I said, but I didn't make any declarative statements. I just asked you questions so that you can inform me on what is the real deal. Because since I don't live here, then I could say, oh, that was good or that was bad. So my point with the story is that the things that mean the most to people, which are religion and government and stuff, most people have no idea or clue about what they are, because they just repeat narratives from what they see on the oblong box in the corner of a room, trying to tell them what to believe is real. And their leaders, like the politicians and these religious leaders, they just repeat the narratives that they're told. They don't do any research. They don't read any books. They don't listen to any lectures. They don't do anything to sort of like get their own opinion from them for themselves, right? Which is very, very common in the world now. And man, she got triggered. She got up and she says, oh, I'm going to go do something and come back. And then she went and she got her phone and came back. And I was like, gosh, damn. You know what I mean? I didn't because I knew not to, when I saw what was happening, not to mix statements, because a lot of people can't handle the truth. So I just asked questions. But you see, even in asking questions, you know, you get portrayed as the villain, right? So I just wonder how people like her and are going to manage when this whole thing collapses and the things that I am seeing are blatantly in our faces. I don't know, man. But, this is why I'm sounding the alarm. I'm sounding the alarm now and telling people it is time to work on themselves, get into shape mentally, physically, and spiritually, because what's coming is going to be next level, and it's going to be very mental and very spiritual at the same time. I mean, it will be some physical challenges, but I think that the mind and the spirit are going to get the most tests. And those tests, I'm telling you, are tough. Very, very tough. And yeah, man, one of the reasons for the reason why the world is the way it is today is because of a lack of love for oneself. And, love is not just an emotion. It is a way of being. It is a state of being. And it is what we are, right? By default, we are love. We just have forgotten. And loving oneself is honoring your word to yourself. Having integrity with yourself. It is doing the things that you say you're going to do, even if you don't feel it doing it for yourself or to yourself when you say you're going to do it. You're going to do it. Now, what that does now is that allows you to be totally brutally honest with yourself, and you love yourself so much that, for example, if you know that you need to go to bed on time, you're not going to self-sabotage and go drink in the pub with the lads until late, right? It means then that instead of you going and buying the Mackie D's or eating some puka pies, you're going to say, no, you know what? I am going to do my meal prep and I'm going to eat the food from my meal prep, right? That's what self-love looks like. Self-love is, if you know that watching certain movies trigger you and get you to be like that, just don't watch them, Self-love is doing the things that you know that you should do to yourself and for yourself to keep yourself in that state of equilibrium, love, and balance. Because the state of love allows you to attract, manifest, and also have the life that you want. Because you can't give someone something that you don't already have. So if you love yourself, it means you can love your significant other, right? It means then that you can love your friends. It means then that you can love people that are even strangers to you because you love yourself. Because this is the trick that a lot of people fail to realize. If we want to demand certain things from other people, we need to do those things first, right? But the problem that we have is that people want to demand respect from people or love from people or X, right? And they don't give those things. This is why I always say you can't give someone something that you don't already have. And that's why I always use the analogy of if I have £50 in my pocket, I can't give you £50 if I don't have it in my pocket. It's the same with love. So what we find is that people, and as an entrepreneur, I have to deal with people that would owe me money and stuff like that. And I don't owe people money because that's not in my consciousness. And if I do, it's for a very, very short period of time. And I always pay when I say I'm going to pay because I was never taught to be like that. But anyway, what I find is that the most people who complain about people not paying them are the people that themselves don't pay people. So this is the thing. Money is a consciousness. Money is energy. And if you read the richest book of Babylon, the richest man in Babylon, I can't remember the guy's name, but he says clearly, if you want to level up your business and you want to attract money and have money, you must pay your debts. You must pay the people that you owe. So what I find, and I see this a lot when people end up owing me money, because obviously, you do different ventures and stuff for people, and You know, sometimes they have to give you some of the money then and then money at another time. And what I find is that the vast majority of people who don't pay me on time have money issues because of the money consciousness that they have. They have a lack of mentality and they have poverty consciousness because it's an energy. If you give, you receive. And you give more, you receive more. You honor your word. People will honor their word with you. Now, not everyone will do it because we have billions of people in the world and everyone is at a different stage. But what happened is that in the times where you least likely expect it, someone is going to come and help you and pull you out. And I have a mate that had a situation just like that, where he said for years, but you know, Todd, I've helped so many people in my life and I hardly get any help from anywhere. I said to him, don't worry. There's going to come a time when you will need it. Not that you want it, you'll need it. And the universe will step up. And he said to me about a month ago, he says, you know what, Todd? I have to give Jack the jacket. You were right on that. He says, I needed help in that particular situation. And there was no one else that could help me except that particular person. And they helped me. And I was so shocked, right? I said, yeah, that's how it works, right? You get what you put out. Now, you don't give to get, but you give knowing, right, that it will come back. Because the way you treat other people is really comes from a place of how you treat yourself. So if you treat yourself good first, it means you will treat other people well, you know, because a new consciousness is coming through on the planet. And we're going to have to live in a place of love, from a state of love, you know, because love is not just an emotion. As this consciousness rises, we're going to have abilities like reading other people's thoughts. We're going to be able to manifest instantaneously like that. We are going to be able to just invent and create new possibilities at will. But if you're not doing that from a place of purity, a place of love, it means then that you're going to create a lot of self-harm. This is akin to the story of the Excalibur sword, where you needed to be of a pure heart in order to move it. And this is kind of like our figurative Excalibur sword. In order to really get the true power and for the consciousness to really take over our bodies, we can't fight it. We have to be in a state of love. And that way now, we will hear the little voice that speaks to us. Because I tell you what, right? I had a very, very interesting experience this weekend. And hey, man. And it was very, 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 very interesting, where there were 3 times that the little voice spoke to me. And I ignored it each time. And it was only the Sunday night, that I sat down and I was talking to a friend of mine. And I was saying to myself, well, hold on a minute. This is something I can learn from. What was the commonality that took place with me? Well, for me, and for everyone it may be different, but I'm sharing this so you can get context. When I was in the thought process, and then my thought process was broken and it shifted to this other thing, and I thought about this thing for like 3 seconds. This is why I'm realizing now that this is where the important life changes are made, right? And it even happened to me when I think back of when I broke my foot in 2005, where I was passing my home and my mind said to me, go home and get something to eat. And I thought about it for a few seconds and I got on the road. And then I broke my foot. Now, this seems to be the thing in terms of my experience. So I'm asking you all to see like when that the voice or your higher self or your spirit guides or whoever talks to you, how does it appear? Because I think that this is going to become very, very important for us to channel our real power. Because each time the thought that came up and put me to focus on it, it was telling me at the time, maybe I should do this. And then I did the opposite every single time. And I'm saying, hold on a minute. So the thought, because normally when I have to do something like with the podcast, it was very assertive and it was like, yes, that's it. But I realized that the soft voice where, Yeshua was talking about going to a quiet place, right? And you will, pray to your Father. And there's also another part in the Old Testament. I can't remember who it was, but it was saying that he was listening to find the voice of God or the voice of Spirit. And then it was the quiet voice. He was like, that is the quiet voice, So yeah, that is the thing that I learned and I saw. And so basically now, anytime like my thought is broken and I am going and I'm asked to focus on another thing, I will have to pay much more attention to it and really consider what was being said to me. Because when you think back about it, right, I had 3 situations that didn't turn out in my favor, all because I didn't listen. So I share that with y'all to say that I know that y'all most likely have situations like that in your lives. And so listen to the voice in your head and improve yourself and try that you can become one with it, right? And I expect to see more seeding of our consciousness about extraterrestrials and stuff like that. And basically, most likely we're going to see the Anuna gods very, very shortly here. And I think that it's going to be a combination of a real alien invasion, a fake alien invasion, or a combination of all 3. Simply because we have the technology to fake it. And we do know that these gods of old are real. Because, well, when I say real, according to all the ancient texts, you have the Book of Enoch, you have the Sumerian tablets, you have the Hindu Vedas that talk about Vamanas and, the gods of the sky, from the sky. So we do have a lot of evidence to show that, something was going on back in the day that they're not telling us. And extraterrestrials seem to be the most common outcome. And, this is why I believe that they're trying to really seed our consciousness for what's going to happen. Because basically what we're seeing is that all of the governmental breakdown in the system is basically to get us in a position where we're so distraught that, we accept anything, right? And these people have it in for us, most definitely have it in for us. Hold on a minute. I think I just put my cable. Yes. So I'm just gonna, take you into the back, and I like to come out here and talk and stuff to myself. This is all the farm here now. So let me see if I could turn around the camera here now. So you see that is where we grow our chickens. And, we have our sheep down there. So behind the car. So this is where, that's one of our dogs there. That's Buddha. And that is where my mother has the rabbits. And then we have some layers in there to lay the eggs. And then down there is where our sheep are, right? Actually, I could go a little bit closer. You can see the sheep as well. So it's all about trying to be as self-sufficient as possible, Wait to see them? Yeah. So yeah, man. Basically, this is what it's all about. It's about preparing for, what's to come, because it's going to be pretty challenging for everybody. And yeah, that's why my father's out there planting another tree, because, we understand that, when things shift, when these Anunnaki beings come on Earth, they're going to shake at the place, right? And basically, we need to really start working on ourselves to improve our mindset. We have to realize that no one's coming to save us, and we have to save ourselves, right? Because it's all about getting in alignment with the great spirit, source, God, whatever word you want to use, because that is the thing that is going to guide you. Like how I was taking time to explain about how, my higher self was speaking to me, the great spirit. And it came in this very quiet voice, changed my focus to something else. And each time I didn't listen. So this is why I'm going to make a concerted effort that whenever I get that pattern interrupt, because I know what it looks like now, that I'm going to listen to it and stuff. So I'm going to show you where some of the trees that I planted. I planted 25 trees, right? And yeah, so I just wanted to say that basically before I was by the gate, that I do see them using the extraterrestrial card very, very big, because I think what they're going to do is that this might be the plan, and we don't know for certain, but it seems very likely, thinking as a strategist or engineer or a person, how I would do it, to get maximum effect. I would crash the economy. Yeah, the Sunday is a bit tough. I would crash the economy, and then obviously by doing that, I would make things super expensive, and then I would force people to have to go on rations. And then when people are on rations now, then you start to tell them to eat bugs and all this kind of thing. And then by them starting to eat that now, they'll say, listen, we can give you all a little bit of respite, but if you want to get back to normal, boom, take these jabs, these chips, and use these CBDCs, and your life will become better, right? That's how I see it. So I'll show you one of the trees that I planted. So I'm just turning the camera here, and you can see there, that's one of the trees that I planted, one of the coconut trees, and there are 25 of those that I planted. So in about 5 years' time, we should be able to get a lot of coconut water. And like I said, I think you can survive for 6 months with just the coconut water and the coconut jelly. And yeah, so we've got like some land here. We live on 3.5 acres of land in Barbados. So this is out in the back, we call it the paddock. And our land goes all the way down in the back there. And I had many days of being on this land and basically just working it with the animals and the goats and the stuff, because I used to raise goats and stuff like that. And had loads of fun. So yes, guys, I need to go and prepare now to fly. So I need to go and get some more other little bits and pieces to take with me. But I hope that this video added value to you. I try to break down as much as I can and as quickly as I can, like, what's really going on in the system. The whole thing with the Jeffrey Epstein, that is just a bait and switch. That is literally to get us to, have a go at each other, because people are going to be trying to defend one side or the next and trying to say that Trump is this and Trump is that. Pay attention to none of them. They're all frauds. They're all pagans. They're all monsters because they hurt children. And what they are is that they are aligned in our demise, and they are just bought and paid for, and they're looking to get a buck out of it and save their backsides, right? They don't care about us. But what we need to do is come together, forgive ourselves, you know what I mean? Because all of the white and black and, the other ethnicity versus other ethnicity is all nonsense, because we are one human species. And I like to say that humans are like dogs. People always look at me like that. I said, but look, a Rottweiler can have sex with a Chihuahua and give birth to a dog, right? A puppy. A person from China can have sex with a person from Africa and get a child, right? It means that we're the same human race. And until we look past those small superficial differences, it means that we will remain in the same state of fear. We will continue to be controlled. We will continue to have no freedom, mentally, physically, and spiritually. So with that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I just want to say thank you for giving me a time today. Thank you for all the people that support me on Patreon, on Locals. And just want to say thank you for all the people that share my content, because we're getting heavily suppressed, because our message is reaching the masses, our message is changing lives, and we're helping people on all of the continents now. And just want you all to help us out, to share this content with people that you think that are ready for change, people that will value this content, and also people that are struggling a little bit, that are seeking answers. And this podcast now is a collection, is a cosmic library of some of the best minds, and we've had some really, really good episodes of late. So just go and check those out. Again, check out episode, I think it's 54 and 61. Yes, 54 and 61, where Ronald Cave, my father, tells y'all how to grow food and rear animals successfully. Keep doing the work on yourself. And if you guys if you guys want to get into shape, you want to start this process, you want to level up on all areas of your life, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriana_246, or my name, Todd Cave, on Facebook. Send me a message, let's have a chat, and let's see if you're a good fit for the Compound Body Training Army. If you're on a spiritual journey, or you would like to start a spiritual journey and would like some help removing some fears and traumas, hit me up on my Instagram at Adriana_246, or my name, Todd Cave, on Facebook, and I will help you to get some magic mushrooms. And guys, thank you for all your support in the merch store. We have people from all over now, because we are not just a podcast anymore, we are a movement. So if you want to be part of that movement, you want to join this cool movement and show people you are part of the Conscious Man 7 crew, the Conscious Man 7 army, and you are working on yourself, visit our merch store, Todd and Me, on Amazon, and click, and the link will be in the description of this podcast. We have some cool tank tops, hoodies, shirts, and sweats. So for all my brothers up there in the cold, North America and Europe, you can get your Todd and Me and or Conscious Man 7 gear there. Also, don't forget to check out the sponsor of our show, The Kembo, at thekembo.com. Get yourself some Organite, and I actually love sleeping with this. I get really, really good sleep and deep sleep with this on me. I also have an Organite pyramid in Barbados here and in my flat in Mexico. And everyone that comes into my flat always says the same thing. Your house feels very, very, very calm. So fight those EMFs, fight those nasty radio waves, and combat some of the chemtrails, because Sharon and Gabriel have a lot of evidence to show that the Organite actually helps clear up the skies and stuff like that. So thekembo.com, use coupon code CM7 and get yourself 10% off. And lastly, if you would like to, if you're listening on one of the podcast channels and you simply don't like ads, you can consider being a member of our Patreon on Locals. You get early access to all episodes coming out. You get direct access to me, so you can send me messages, ask me questions. And as we grow, we will have meetups, and we'll have Zoom calls and all that kind of stuff where you can ask me any questions you want, and we can build this community. So for just a few bucks a month, you can join either of those communities. And yeah, link to the Patreon or Locals communities will be in the description of this podcast. Guys, I want to say much love to you, and I'm sorry I didn't give you a walk and talk in January, but I've got quite a few other podcasts before this, but I'm going to put this out when I get back, because obviously the Jeffrey Epstein stuff came out recently, and I want this to be still a little bit recent instead of like last time, because we're being blessed now where we have many people hitting me up asking to come on the show, and some people have been referred by you guys as well. So I just want to say thank you for your support, and we're blessed where we have a plethora of people that want to come on with different points of view. Some I agree with, some I don't, but this platform will be a space where we have all conversations, because I'm trying to learn as much as I can, and the only way you can learn from someone is if you actually listen to them. And that's what I do. I try to ask good questions, and I try to listen, so that basically we as a community can learn. So yeah, guys, just want to say thank you for giving me your time today. Much love to you. And I will post this shortly. And all I want to say, guys, is that, look, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep being the change you want to see, because this is the thing that is going to pull us out. This has been another episode of the Conscious Man 7 podcast, the place where we go beyond the veil in search of the truths that they hide from you, and the place where we try to give you the best information so that you can become the best version of yourself. Until next time, folks, like I said, keep smiling, keep shining, and keep being the change you want to see. Speak to you soon. Cheers and namaste.